why is it never the right time to talk about any type of laws surrounding guns, even if it's not taking guns away from people, even if it's not restricting people from owning guns? So, for example, the alleged shooting happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I say alleged because I still believe that this was a staged event. And we immediately go into this is why we need a $400 million ballroom. And yes, it's going to be paid for by the taxpayers. Lindsey Graham just spoke about how the Republicans are putting forth a bill to authorize $400 million to pay for this now that this shooting happened. But we're not talking about the guns that were used or how he got the guns to Washington, D.C. It is reported that he owned these guns legally. Okay, awesome. However, he took them from California to Washington, D.C. via train because you don't have to check your guns on a train the way you have to check your guns on a plane. And when asked about that, acting attorney general says we shouldn't be talking about changing the laws in any way, shape, or form.
So the alleged shooter, as we just said, had multiple weapons in his possession. Here in the District of Columbia, open carry is not permitted. You just said he traveled from California across the country by train. At this point, are you thinking at the federal level of changing security protocols in any way to, for example, match on trains what you are expected to go through when you fly, where you do have to declare a weapon when you cross state lines? How did he travel by train without any challenge and arrive here in the nation's capital?
Look, this isn't about, in my mind, changing the law or making the laws more restrictive around possession of firearms. It appears he purchased these firearms the past couple years. We don't know how those firearms ended up in his possession in D.C. We can make some assumptions based upon what I just said about how he got to D.C. But I don't think the narrative here is about changing laws or making our laws more restrictive. This is about law enforcement who are doing their jobs and a suspect who tried to do something and failed miserably.
Yeah. I'm not talking about changing the law in terms of possession of a firearm. I'm asking about crossing state lines with that firearm and arriving in the capital. If you try to fly, you do have to have your firearms declared in some way. You don't when you get on a train.
Well, look, you are talking about, I mean, if we're asking the question, that's talking about changing the laws. And I don't think that's something that we should be focused on right now in any way, shape, or form.
So we should be focusing on building a $400 million ballroom, but not on making sure people can't get on Amtrak trains or cross-country trains without checking their firearms. She's not even asking for like a gun ban or a registry or anything like that. Just can we make it so that when you travel by train, it's the same protocol as when you travel by plane? Oh, we shouldn't be talking about that at all. Really? No, we should be focusing on the ballroom, right?